Hello, this is Yosef Lange again with the Zera Shimshon. It is Chav Tes Nisan, and it's Erev Rosh Chodesh Iyar, which is the Rosh Hashanah for Ani Hashem Roifecha. Should heal all the sick people in the Klal Yisrael that we know of. and it's also the 14th day of Zera Shimshon, just in case anybody forgot. Okay, I'm doing Parshat Tazria. I'll probably do another section because it's a double Parshat this week, Tazria, and there's a lot of information. And I'm doing Daled right now. This is very fascinating. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's a Midrash Rabbah in Vayikra, okay? And the pasuk Adam Kiyeh Be'or B'Sayrei. That says it's a pachas, okay? So he's quoting from the pasuk, and it says Hadu D'Chsiv. That's what it says in pasuk in Mishlei. And Nachaynu la leitzim shafatim. It's proper for leitzim, the scorners, to get the judgments, we'll call it. Muchanim hayu la leitzim dinim. So it's proper for them to get judgments. Kivin sheshamu Yisrael parshas nagayim nisyaru. So a little bit, there's a lot of information here in the Midrash, but I'm not going to do all of it. I'm just quoting the parts that the Zera Shimshon quotes. So he says, Kivan Sheshamu Yisrael Parshas Nagoyim, since the Jewish people heard about this section of Nagoyim in the Parsha, Nisyaru, they were frightened. Well, they're going to get sick, they're going to get diseases on their skin, in their house, on their clothes. It's really ridiculous. Okay, so he says, Kivan Sheshamu Yisrael Parshas Nagoyim, Nisyaru, they were frightened. Amar Lahim Moshe, Al Tisyaru, Moshe said, don't be afraid. Eilu L'umay Soilam, says those are things that are going to be for the nations of the world. Well, we know that it says the Nagayim don't come on the world. Don't come like the Nagayim. They don't get those Nagayim. So what's the pshat? What's first of all? He's asking on the Midrash. What does it mean eating and drinking? What's it got to do with Nagayim? What is this fear that they had? What's the shaykhs? What is pertinent to this pasuk? Shehevi alav pasuk nachaynu laleitzim shaftim. What's it got to do with the other pasuk in Mishlei? Yesh the taretz the kasha le al pasuk zeh shahayo loy lichtav adam yi ki im yiyah. It should say a lashon if, that is, a person, if he gets on his flesh, negayim. It says when he will get it. The mashma shemina roihu sheyeh lohem negayim. That is fitting for them to get negayim. So it says it's proper that they should be judged, get the judgments. And that's what they were frightened, because it says kiyya, when they will get it. Sounds like it's going to be something that's got to happen. The mashma shehem leitzim v'nechaynu lahem hashoftim, that when they are scorners, making fun of people, goofing around, that it's proper for them to get leitzim, to get the goyim. Because shekain shekasa b'zoyar, it says in the Zoyar, and I'm going to quote. It says that on the pasuk, Adam Yiyah Be'or B'Sayrei, and this is in Parshas Mitzayra and Tazria in Memhei Amud Beis, that the Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Yosef were walking along the way, and they saw a man. It says, Ya'aru Ba'achad Bar Nash. They saw him. They ran into a person. Ve'anpoyi Malyan Machtishin, and his face was full of negoyim. It looked, actually, it says. The Masak Midvash translates he had a very red face. So he was standing underneath a tree, and they looked at him and they said, Chamu, an poi samukim bi'inun machtishin. His face was red because of those negoyim. So he said to Rabbi Chia, said to him, Shaloy sahish, manant, who are you? So he said, I'm a Jew. I'm a Jew. So Rabbi Yosef said to Rabbi Chia, Chatahu, he's a sinner. He's a Baal Chayter. Why? If he wouldn't, She'im lo haya kain, lo haya panav nirshamis be'ilan elu ha-negoyim royim. If he hadn't been Jew, his face would not be full of these negoyim. And ve'elu ha-negoyim lo nikram yisurim shal, and these negoyim are not called yisurim shal ahava. So, because yisurim shal ahava, she'enim elo l'harbay schore im heim mechusim, to yisurim shal ahava, they would be covered because they're only there to increase his reward. That people would see it and say, well, they see this guy Chilul Hashem because he's got such punishments. So the whole purpose of these Nagayim was that he should do tshuva and get a kapara. To continue with the Zera Shimshon now, it says, "Aval Yisrael lechov l'shtois l'smayach," but the Jewish people should be eating, drinking, and happy. The Amina B'Ksuvas, it says in Perek Afalpi in Daf Samach Aleph on the base Amud Aleph, there was a Gemara there. The Gemara there is talking about people that are, if they don't eat something right away, they could get sick and die. So it's very serious. But there's a story with a Gemara. But it says that Amemar and Marzutra and Rav Ashi were sitting at the entrance to the house of King Isgor, and the king's chief butler is passing by with various foods. So Rav Ashi saw a Marzutra's face blanched; she turned white. So something was happening here, because he craved the food. So he took some of the food with his finger. Can you imagine? This is the king's food, and put it in Marzutra's mouth. The chief butler said to him, "You have spoiled the king's meal, as now he will not eat from it." The king's soldiers who were there said to him, now he's in danger of his life now, okay, the king's soldiers who were there said to him, "Why did you do this?" He said to them, "The one who makes such awful dishes is the one who actually spoiled the king's food." Oh boy, now he's accusing the cook. He said to him, "Why did you say this?" He said to them, "I saw something in it. It was this leprous infection in this meat." They checked it and didn't find anything. He took his finger, placed it on the food, and said to them, "Did you check here?" Then they checked that spot and found the infection. The sages said to Rav Ashi, "What is the reason that you relied on a miracle? Assumed that leprosy would be in fact found here." He said to them, "I saw a leprous spirit hovering over the food and realized that it was the defect." So Rashi actually says this Ruach Tuma was hovering over Marzutra. That's why he gave him. So it had nothing to do with the food. Hachi nami ksiv, it says in Pasuk in Yeshaya, Hine avdi yeichlu v'atem tiravu. So my servant, they should eat and be happy, and you will be have famine. Somebody that sees fruit and he doesn't eat from that food, but because he's very hungry, he becomes a mitzvah. But somebody that eats and drinks and is happy, there's no reason for him to become a mitzvah. Don't be frightened. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu, don't be frightened. That's for the Goyim. But for us, we just eat and drink and be happy. That's for sure. The Mayri Kra Af Ba'ilam Hazed, the Pasuk is talking about this world as well. So in this world, somebody who eats bugs, creepy crawlers, he's gonna get by nature, he's gonna get Nagoyim. Shignichtav the Kam Besamach Ayin Sham. Looks in ice. We'll see it later. But Elu Yavoyu Dafka Lenachim. Those things come to Goyim. Ve'aleim Amar Hakasov Kiyiha. That's why it says Kiyiha be'Adam. Amnam Yisrael she'enim eichlim shkatzim remasim. But we don't eat bats or creepy crawlers. Therefore, we can eat just all the kosher food, and don't worry. They're not going to get that Nagoyim from eating those foods. But there's This is the sod of Nagayim. If a person does some sins, and the Gemara says in the Erechin what 7 sins the person does to get Nagayim. Of course, one of them is Lashon Hara. That's the worst. Okay, being stingy is also another one. Well, you can look there in the Gemara. It's in Daf 16. Amar Aleph. Mishum hachi nitain din ha-nagayim le'Yisrael v'lo alomos. That's why the din of Nagayim, the judgment, is given to the Jewish people, not to the Umas Olam. Kedei sheyischapru bohem im yasu ma shekosav b'parsha, so that they get a kapara if they do what it says in the parshas, these 2 parshas. Kedamina b'per kama de brachas, it says the Nagayim hu mizbeach kapara, because Nagayim are like a cleansing on a mizbeach. You get an atonement. The key hahu uvdad shal hazayar, like the Zayar said before. Hava adam chashuv shalaka ben Nagayim the kaparas chatai. It was a person that was very important, so he got a kapara for his sins. I got a small, again, a part from the Torah Wellsprings, a small segula, because there's still no, the segulas over here. It says, one source of parnasa is to be compassionate and help others, especially the poor. It states that, it says, Haman Zera Gad. The Degel Machan Ephraim, Zecher Tzadik V'Rocha says, explains Haman, which means one's parnasa is Zera God. According to the amount, he is Gomer Chasadim. God, in the Gemara in the Ksuvas, no, it's Shabbos, I'm sorry, Kuf Dalid, it's talking about the Tinaika Shal Beis Rabban, they were darshaning Aleph base. And it says Gimel Dalid is Goimel Chasadim. Gimel Dalid. It's so, therefore the Haman was like a Zera God. It's Goimel, according to the amount, he is Goimel Chasadim. He does kindness with the poor, because when one has compassion, he receives compassion from above. Hashem's name for Parnasa is Pei Aleph Yud, which we say when we say the Rosh Tevas of Poseach Es Yodecho, Pei Aleph Yud. That's the Shem of Yud Ke Vav Ke and Adnus. It's 91. The Rabbi Yitzchak Apeshavos Zecher Tzadik V'Rocha added that Pei Aleph Yud is also Rosh Tevas for Farginin Yudin. So Farginin Yudin is to do kindness with your fellow man, because if you do kindness to others, you will earn Parnasa and all goodness. Have a good week. Have a good Shabbos. I get to bench the Chodesh. I get gesund the Yor. Gesund. Everybody should be gesund. Amen.